The Nerdgasm Talk podcast is brought to you by Spaces Philly. If you love podcasts, go to spacesphilly.com where you can check out Lulu and Pop, Both Sides, Turntables, Jump Thought Sober Tongue, and the Nerd Coalition's very own No Gimmicks Needed. Visit spacesphilly.com today. And now, feel the Nerdgasm.
Christopher Nolan. Let's talk about him for a second. I'm getting this on IndieWire.com. This week in the Wall Street Journal put into words that we all had suspected. After Warner Brothers had made their controversial decision to move its 2021 slate to a hybrid release model, Tenet filmmaker Christopher Nolan is unlikely to return to the studio with his next project. I think we all expected this to come. I'm not going to lie. I think we all expected this to come. However, it is kind of crazy. He was like, during the pandemic, he was trying to get people to go to the movie theater so hard.
Yeah, like, bruh, I understand being a purist.
I told you want your art to be in the purest form possible. But with everything that's going on, it's not possible. Like that it's not possible. But
it doesn't make sense. It seems counterproductive, sir.
Yeah.
I've never seen, and listen, it's not no knock to Christopher Nolan's filmmaking, but I've never seen a Christopher Nolan film that made me want to risk my life during a pandemic to go watch it in a movie.
Not only that, risk your life to a movie theater that's 3 hours away to see a film by Christopher Nolan.
What?
But, you know, with all this, man, the question is, where he gonna go?
That's what I want to know, but I feel like Christopher Nolan's one of them names where studios just want to pay for. But
okay, well, look at it this way. I'm gonna read something to you.
Mm-hmm.
Paramount Pictures has spent the pandemic selling off titles to because they seen cash strapped to take on they can't take on the amount that the $200 million Tenet took. Sony isn't in better shape because they forgo the release of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood in China. Then you have Disney has the money to fund the Nolan epic, but he don't make Disney demographic movies,
right?
Which they even though Red Tails is on Disney Plus, they are not going to make those kind of he ain't gonna make those kind of movies. So the question is, the best, as I'm reading here, where you're reading at IndieWire.com, that one of the best studios that is in the house is available could be Universal Pictures. But once again, I don't know. I mean, I understand being angry, but I don't necessarily like the way Warner Bros. Has handled the whole the WB thing, even though, like I said, now knowing how they did handle it. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what other... I don't know what other option it is.
I can see him really going out and being like, I'm going to make my own production company.
That's
like,
what I was going to say. I feel like he's powerful enough.
He stands on his laurels hard enough that I could see him doing that.
Yeah, I agree. I see him.
And I'm not mad at him for standing up for what he believes in. It's just, at this point in time, you got to learn to pivot. And because it doesn't mean that you have to give up what you... If that's the case, if it's like, I really don't want my stuff being released at home, then you have to just, I guess, put a pause on making movies for the moment, because you're just not going to have, you don't have anywhere to release them right now. Movie theaters are in the gutter.
They are, and like I say, depending on what this plan that our president is trying to put into action, it will be to see if the movie theaters can actually survive to the summertime. Right. They got to be able to make it to the summertime. It ain't just easy. Like even the ones that are open, so people are just not going to feel comfortable going to the movie, no matter how safe they are, or no matter how not safe they are. And besides, like as of now, our local movie theater is is closed down. There is no more Regal.
There's no more Regal theaters. That's the closest one to.
And AMC too close to me. Too close or too hot?
It's too close. You want me to believe that people who don't be wanting to get popcorn up off the floor, the floors are sticky. Y'all finna come in here and wipe down these seats after every show?
Yeah, stop it. And on top of all that, I'm like, now look. As much, first of all, I want the movie theater experience. I'm gonna tell you right now, when movie theaters open back up, I'm gonna go there and buy literally all the food in the world. I'm gonna buy me an expensive hot dog, some popcorn.
You got that drug dealer money? That's what you need to be able to afford all that.
If the movie theaters open back up, and we get another stimulus, then yeah, mind all that. Give me a hot dog, nachos, popcorn, bunch of crunch, candy, Twizzlers, and all that stuff. Because I don't eat the movie theater at all, and I'm gonna sit there and just enjoy the movie theater. Because I love the movie. I'm a guy who loves movies. I love the movie theater experience. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, that right now we are in a situation that is unexplainable. I mean, it's just beyond crazy, and it's something that we really are going to have to take time to try to figure this thing out. And I understand. I'm with Christopher Nolan. His work of art is meant for the theaters, but you got to also necessarily just be safe. Tenet did not make the money that he was expecting it to make.
He really thought people was willing to risk it all for him, and I mean,
look,
it's nice. You should be your own biggest cheerleader, but
it's not because if depending on what the Christopher Nolan movie was, is if I will go see it or not. But it's like I'm looking at.
It sounds like Tenet wasn't even really.
Well, a lot of people. Even respected movie critics that I watched did not actually reviewed did not like the movie Tenet.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think going to the movies would have changed that.
Yeah, and it's just like, and I'm just like, look, I'll be honest with you, y'all. I like John David Washington and all, but he ain't selling a movie for me yet.
No, he's not that big a star.
Malcolm and Marie is all about Zendaya.
That's what I was about to say. I'm watching that for her.
Okay,
I ain't watching
because
that for her.
I'm trying to see the job that Zendaya can do, and I just love the whole black and white aspect of it. I'm just like I want to see what she can do. And they're not saying that John David Washington is a bad actor, but he has not earned the title of Baby Denzel yet.
Right. You still got it from John Boyega.
He came from that man's loins.
Swag.
Yeah.
Please tell my wife who Baby Denzel is.
I'm well aware.
No. You're going to hear the name again.
I understand that John Boyega is Baby Denzel.
You damn skip.
That's cool. But John David Washington came from that man's nuts.
Prove it. Because John Boyega and Denzel take the same kind of. Do they have the same kind of profile swag? Like, especially when Denzel had that fight look. Yeah. I'm just like, they got the same kind of profile. I'm sorry. In my opinion, John Boyega is a better actor than John David Washington. I'm not disputing that fact. They just give him like I haven't heard from John Boyega since Pacific Rim 2. I was just like, they fucked him up with that one.
He's the Blacks said they're gonna keep him working.
Yeah, they.
John Boyega's going to get work. I'm just saying, but
right now it's up in there.
Black Twitter throwing like they all over Star Wars for for selling us a Black Jedi but not giving it to us.
Look, a lot of people pissed off about Star Wars, especially how it ended. And I still have yet to see that movie, and that was the last thing.
He need more credit.
Say what?
He needs more credit.
I call him Baby Denzel. I give John Boyega all the credit.
No, I'm saying it overall. I'm not saying you don't, but I'm like John Boyega. He needs more.
Yeah, I really think that he needs that because, like I said, before even Star Wars, the Pacific Rim 2 was a setback. Okay, he did everything he could do with the part that he was given, but I'm just like, I'm sorry, no, that's not necessarily. He needs something else. But in the meantime, like I say, John David Washington is not him, and Bill Skarsgård was not selling the whole Tenet movie for me. I'm like, if I was able to watch it at home, I'll watch it and get a review at the time. But it's kind of like when it was trial and error. It was like, look, give Christopher Nolan his movie. Honestly, I'll say it like this: if Tenet had worked, and it got a good, audience rating, and it got a good Rotten Tomato score, which I think it still got a solid Rotten Tomato score, and it was perceived better, and made more money in the theaters, then maybe this whole WB HBO Max thing wouldn't happen the way it did.
He was a sacrificial lamb.
Yeah,
because it's kind of like if you look back at certain movies, I'm like, I think because same with Mulan, they said we'll put out something that was supposed to come out.
That didn't work out like they thought it was.
Exactly, it backfired on them. I was like, okay, now see, Disney is able to let something backfire on them and be like, all right, screw it. I mean, they can lose that money.
Not really.
That's a good risk.
If we keep it a buck, Disney living check to check like a lot of folks. If you haven't noticed, because the parks are a mess. All that shit is really. It may be different entities, but a lot of it's tied together, so they taking hits all over.
They are taking hits, but I'm saying when it comes to the streaming service, right now, which is making the most money because they have the most subscribers of all streaming services right now.
Oh, they jumped like that?
They jumped a hell of a long time since when they made that jump, and they jumped a shit ton in the first year post HBO Max. Now, obviously, they're still catching up to Netflix. Netflix is the king right now.
Juggernaut.
Netflix is a juggernaut right now. But if Mulan had worked, if it was perceived better, if people was willing to pay that much money for Mulan, I think we would have seen Black Widow already.
Yep,
you're right.
But Mulan, you had to give a movie that was big enough to be a sacrificial lamb, but not small enough. Because honestly, if Mulan had worked, we probably would have had to pay for Soul.
That's what I mean. I was about to say, like, we would have had to definitely pay for Soul if Mulan had worked. Yeah. But Mulan, the movie itself,
I watched it.
I think is what really was the biggest downfall.
Yeah.
And after I watched, I was like, this ain't something I will pay $30 for. This ain't something that I would voluntarily go out my way and get the DVD of. But it wasn't in my worst. I mean, it wasn't some people's worst of 2020, but it wasn't in my worst, and it wasn't inside my best.
It was just meh.
It was just there. And I was just like, I ain't like this more than I like. You know what? Maybe I don't know. When I was a crazy thing.
You didn't like Mulan the movie in the first place.
I like Mulan. Spirit, yeah.
So it's not.
So I was out there hashtag giving it a chance to see how the live action one would work. I was like, no, I don't think it's doing it. But so maybe now once again, there is a faith that the movie theaters can truly open back up. People, look, I'm telling y'all right now, June ain't that far off. We're still in January, and remember, like when me and my wife went to go see Little Brother, like March 5th, and the world turned upside down. I blinked, and then we had COVID, and I blinked again. It was my daughter's birthday, and I'm like, wait a minute, that whole first half of the year flew by.
When you get old, time moves fast.
You know what I'm saying?
when you get to over 30, time start moving at lightning speed. So
it can be sooner rather than later before the movie theater start. And like I said, it ain't like our president in there working. Like he just signed something else today about this 1.9 trillion plan to help get us more money. That's going to help schools. That's going to help these movie theaters. That's going to help these businesses try to stay afloat until we can get some more of these vaccines out.
Yeah.
Because see now, when you had top people like, I'm sorry, Andrew Young been through hell and high water, and if Andrew Young go on there getting a shot, I'm like, I can man up and get a shot. Andrew Young, bro, that man, like, first of all, just being a friend with Dr. King is hell. Okay, and I don't mean being a person. I'm talking about that is the biggest target that they had, the FBI had. I'm just saying, and he went through hell and high water and been through some shit. And I'm just like, if that old man who is old now.
I think at this point, I just want people who really needed to get it, and that seems to be the biggest problem.
That's because everybody.
There wasn't a plan, and everybody is trying their best to knock folks down in line so they can't get it and everything. I just want everybody who is supposed that really needs it, like people at your local grocery store, people and your doctors and things like that, and like everybody who has to constantly interact with the public.
Yeah.
Who I can't say everybody, but who has to interact with the public, who there are some folks who don't care. Because the folks who don't care about taking care of themselves or others during the pandemic got to eat too. Or they get sick too. That's the biggest thing right now. And it's just like, I get it. I want especially small businesses and things like that to survive. But I just... we got bigger stuff to think about right now. That's where I'm at. Like, I understand. I want the movies to make it to at least, through the year so they can come back. But me not being able to go to the movies and see a Christopher Nolan movie is not at the top of my list right now. It's just not. If we're being completely honest here.